The 6c operates out of three basic convictions. First, everyone has a worldview. No matter who you talk to, everyone has a perspective about God, about the world, about people, about history and events. The reason why this is because all of us have some inherent truths about us. First, we have been created in the image of God. That means in the very fabric of who we are, we know that there is a God, that He exists, and that He is glorious. That there is something about us that shows the world something about this God. And because of that, we also have a sense of eternity. We know that there's something beyond this life. We may not be able to put words on it, but we do know that there's something beyond our experience of everyday life. We also operate with a conscience. We know that there are certain things that are right and certain things that are wrong, and both of these, both eternity and our conscience, comes out of the fact that we've been created in the image of God. Because of all this, all of us have real, genuine knowledge about God. We have access to knowing that this God exists and a little bit about who He is. But this brings us to our second conviction. The reality is that all of us, despite having access to this knowledge, have turned aside or turned away from this knowledge. The Bible calls this sin. That whether directly or indirectly, all of us have decided to live life our own way. And so we live in a world that's filled with brokenness. It's filled with wars and famines and disease. It's filled with fighting and violence, all of a result of the fact that we've turned away from God. But this brings us to our third conviction. No matter what worldview you have, everyone has to deal with the question of why is the world the way it is and what do we do about it? Our third conviction is that the gospel is our only hope. That there is one God who created all things, and He created all things good, but unfortunately everything has turned bad because of sin. And though despite who we are, God loves the world and has shown it by sending His Son, Jesus. Jesus Christ was fully God and fully man and lived just as we live with all of the same temptations and frustrations and challenges that we face, yet He never sinned. And yet, despite His innocence, He was condemned as a criminal and sent to a Roman cross to die. Now, this was just more than a historical event. What happened there was that this God-man, Jesus, represented all of us on the cross, and that the Father poured out all of His wrath that we deserve for our sins on Jesus. Jesus died and was buried, and after 3 days, He rose again to show us that He has ultimate authority and power and victory over sin, death, and disease and destruction. His resurrection also shows us and previews for us the new world to come, that Jesus will return and bring a new earth, an earth and a world without sin and death and disease. And so that's why we say the gospel is our only hope, because that's the only answer we have for the brokenness of our world. So as you explore our website, these are the three convictions that we operate out of, and I hope this is helpful to you to help explain how Christianity works. It's more than just believing a certain amount of doctrines or beliefs or statements. It's about having a relationship with God through Jesus. And when you have that relationship, you'll see that that is a comprehensive worldview that explains everything that happens in our world and that is true about us.